Hey everybody, this is Lisa, One Happy Place Creations. I'm sorry, I just noticed that kind of got my camera set up a little differently. I'm doing pages today on this Everything and More album that I'm doing. So I want to get right to it, but I did have a couple of questions / comments on the envelopes that we're going to be using in this book. I got these from a garage sale. Love garage sales. But they also sell them at Walmart. And so it's a 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. So that was that question. So that's what I'm using. You can use any envelope, any size. You could use these because you're going to cover them with paper. You can use any size envelope in this thing as long as it's going to fit in the parameters of your book and going to do the job that you want it to do. So you don't have to go out and buy these envelopes. If you have an envelope maker, whoever puts those out, I can't remember, EK Success or, no, We Are Memories Keepers. Make some. Whatever envelopes you've got in your stash will work. And then, again, a question on these pocket pages. This is Snap Simple Stories pocket pages. Yeah, Simple Stories puts them out. And it's Snap is the product line, I guess. But if you have the 8.5 by 11 trading card ones, just cut off what you don't need. Leave just a little bit past the seal mark and cut them off. You don't have to go out and buy these. A simple sheet of paper in this size, and then you can just glue on, if you want this kind of look, glue on 4 cards onto it. And then those are, you know, however, you don't have to go out and buy this stuff. I'm just doing this video to show you how I'm going to work with these items. Okay, so that took care of that. Now, find a spot to stick those. Okay, so excuse the arm. We're going to do, this is my worksheet, and I am hoping I can get the whole thing in there. Nope, it's not all going to be in there. Let me back it up a little bit. You'll be able to see the sides of my tripod because whoops, wrong way. So sorry. I try to keep the tripod arms out, but there we go. Okay. So, move this up. So, this is how I figure out what I'm going to do. My score lines, my cut lines, and to design my page. So, and you can either do it with solid color cardstock or cardstock with a design on it. Whichever one you want. If you use a cardstock with a design on it, keep in mind if you have a top or a bottom, you know, versus something like this, is not going to matter. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, it's all the same. But, you know, keep in mind when you're doing, see, that's always write top on it. It just reminds me. It's not that I don't know that that's the top. It just reminds me, make sure that I have the top of my paper before I start scoring. Because I've done it I don't know how many times. And with this paper collection, I am scrimping every bit of paper I possibly can scrimp with. I save every bit because I really, it's a pretty big book and I only had 12 sheets. I've added probably another 9 from my stash, and that's it. So it's been pretty tight. Anyway, moving on. So this first page that we're going to do is this one. And this is actually the cover of the paper. I just thought it was really cute. I really liked it. It's got the Collecting Moments, which was the name on it. Of course, you know, they can put a picture right there if they don't like that. I just really liked it. This is one of the Stampin' Up pages that I've gotten that I've had to interlace with them. And I like the color combinations pretty well together. But this is what we're doing, and then this is a pocket here. And that is out of this first template. So let's get right on it. Now for my first template, now I can take pictures of these templates and put them on my Facebook page, which I will put a link below when I get it done. I might not get it done right when I get this published, but I can go back and add it. But it's Paper Lace and Bling on Facebook. The first score line is going to be on this 12 side, you know, where your top. So you're going to put your top over here, and you're going to make your first score line at 9. Oh, I got 2 pages here. So we're going to... Now, when you go to use this contraption here, make sure you have it pushed all the way into this piece here, because it can totally screw you up. Totally screw you up. Okay, and I usually go down it twice. And then we're going to flip it back over to the top. We're going to do a 1/2 inch. Again, I just moved it, and I thought I had it all the way in, and I didn't. So always make sure. So we're going to score at 11.5, and we're scoring that one all the way down. And the reason we did this 9, you can't see the score line, but I can. And if if you're doing it, you'll be able to see the score line. This next one we're going to do at 5 inches, goes all the way down to the end. Then we're going to do 4 7/8, and we're only going to do that to that score line that we did at the 9-inch mark. Okay, so that's next. 5 inches all the way down. I'm having to work around my tripod, so it gets a little tough. And then 4 7/8. Oops, no, right here. 4 7/8, just down to that 9-inch score mark that we did. Then we're going to flip it over. So we're here, and we're going to do a 1/2 inch. So at 4.5, well, no, the other way. So it's going to be at 7.5 going this direction. At 7.5, we're going to do the score line to the 9-inch mark, or what now is the 3-inch mark. Okay, that gives me my page ready to go. This piece here is my binding. That's what's going to go into the binding. This piece, let's see, and once I cut this you'll see, but these 2 1/2-inch pieces are going to fold in and to make my pocket. This piece here between the two, that's a extra piece that is just about perfect to fit into these. And then this piece on this side of the score line is a flap. So there you go. It's all in one. So now we're going to do some cutting. So let me get this out of my way. Bring my cutter in here. I prefer to use the cutter than the scissors because if you've ever really tried to cut on a score line, it's kind of funky. So I'm putting this at my 3-inch mark, putting my pointer of my cutter onto the 3-inch mark, and I'm making sure the 3-inch mark fits into the groove on here that I have scored. And then I'm going to and I made sure that the score mark is fitting right down into the plane, the cutting hole underneath, and then just take it down. All right, and then I'm going to flip it around this way, and I'm going to put this score mark right into the area where the cutter goes. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to make sure, and then over on this side, again, my tripod is in my way. I'm making sure that the score mark is in the groove up here centered, and in the groove down at the bottom centered. And I'm looking here, and I'm putting my line that is at 4.5 right on this score mark right here. And I'm going to hold this down because, as you know, these things have a little bit of play in them back and forth. So I'm putting it right there, holding it down, and I'm going to cut up to that point. Oh, I didn't have the cutter all the way down, but there you go. So, and that just about perfectly fits into those things. That was not a planned thing on that one. It was just a funky byproduct, a lucky happenstance. Let's put it that way. The rest of it, I am going to use my scissors because they're small cuts and they're really not going to show. Okay, so now you can see more of what I'm talking about. There's a 1/2 inch piece here and a 1/2 inch piece here. And I'm going to separate this 1/2 inch piece from what we're going to do on our binding. And I'm going to cut straight across from the edge of the paper all the way through the score mark, but not beyond it. And then I'm going to take and just trim off the edge a little bit. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Trim off the edge a little bit. I don't take a huge amount, but I do trim off the edge. Okay, same with this one. I'm going to go all the way through the score line, but not past it. And then I'm going to trim off a bit there and trim off a bit there. And that, from this piece of paper, is all the waste you've got. Love it. Love it. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my binding, and I want to make sure that I line it up here. Because even though you scored it, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it folded over exactly right. And then I'm going to burnish this, and I'm going to fold it and burnish it on each side. All right, and let's see. Something does not look just, no, that's good. That's good. I did not cut this super straight, so I am just going to take a little bit off to get it nice and straight there. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it around and do it the other direction, because it is going to need to go both directions, but not so much the one way as the other, but it will need to go both directions. Then I need to figure out which side. This is the side that's going to go into the binding system. So do I just want my flap, like I did the last one, to go this way, and my pocket to go this way? Or do I want to flip it around and do it a different direction? I think I'm going to stay uniform. So I'm going to do this first, because remember I have a 1/8 little gusset here, so that I can build this page up putting ephemera, or you can build this page up putting ephemera and things like that. But I'm going to go to my first score line. Before I really push it down, I'm going to make sure that my side is lining up perfectly. And then I'm going to burnish it. There we go. And now I'm going to go, and I always find it a little easier to then fold a different side. Because, I don't know, it's just always a little, let me go ahead and get this folded out of the way. I'm going to fold this and burnish it. And now, let's try this. These little 1/8 of an inch ones are really kind of difficult. And I usually do not burnish the second one. I fold it, but I don't really burnish it. Just kind of give it a little push and pull and try and get it nice and even. And I just kind of finger press it. I find when I burnish it, I'm flattening this one out so much that it doesn't like to just automatically stay straight. And see, now it's just staying that way. I'm not having to play around with it. It's just kind of standing up nice and pretty. So it just kind of playing around with it that way, I've found that it works the best. So now I'm going to flip this over, and I did fold this the wrong way, but it was fine. I just needed to get it out of my way to get that done. And we're going to fold these in this way. And we're going to flip this up this way. And I want to make sure that I'm getting it nice and straight, because this is acting like it doesn't want to go where I have it. So I'm going to kind of force the issue a bit. There we go. So I held this where I wanted it, because I don't want it right on that, on the crease line, on the score line for my binding system. I want it off of there just a little bit. But it didn't want to go that far. And then I'm just going to bring it across. And there we go. Okay, and it lines up on this side perfectly. So that's really nice. I like that. Okay, I have already cut the pieces off. And the only thing I have left to do is I am inking all my edges. I like to try and get as close to my base page color as I can with, you know, and I love the Distressed ink. I love the Tim Holtz stuff. And this Die Cuts with a View does not instantly absorb this paper. I mean, this ink, it does kind of sit on top a bit. So, you have to kind of be careful that you're not spreading it all over with your fingers. It soaks into the sides a bit, but I just think it gives a finished look to your paper. You know, it's just that added. This is a white core paper. When I use Stampin' Up paper, it is a solid core paper, and I love that about the Stampin' Up paper. But okay, so I've got all that done. But all of these I've already taken the time and gone through and